You know, that was one of the questions, right? That I was gonna ask everyone. Like, can Ineos attract top managers at Man United? Like, can they attract it? Sorry, can they attract like a top manager? Like, because we're hearing that the Stuttgart manager got approached, rejected. Inzaghi approach rejected. Like, do Ineos have the capabilities of actually saying, you know what, we're gonna get someone in and we're gonna do it? Tuchel, England are flirting around now, maybe Tuchel and whatnot. Like, what do you man think? Are we giving excuses to Ineos? Like, or are they just not capable right now of getting someone in? Like, what do you man think? Flawless, go ahead.
You said it there. They're just not capable. We've been having these conversations, in particular during this international break as well, and I've heard people trying to give excuses, people trying to give reasoning as to why Ineos have kept him, why Ineos are doing what they're doing. There's no logical thinking behind it. There's no sensible thinking behind it. These people are just incompetent. That's just what it is. You know, you just call someone who's stupid. That's what you just have to do with Ineos. We just have to admit that. Then, and I know many people don't want to admit because they backed Ineos and they thought that Ineos was good. Just look at all the evidence. If the Glazers would have done exactly what Ineos have done during this period of time, we would have slaughtered them. We would have absolutely slaughtered them verbally, and rightfully so. But because it's Ineos, people want to give him. Why do we want to give him leeway? They kept the people that we wanted to get rid of. That right there is a red flag in itself. But for whatever reason, majority of our fan base were like, oh, let's give him a chance. Fuck that. Why? Based off of what? Yeah, man, Ineos will tell you how much of a mess Manchester United are and how much work they have to do. Who caused us to be in that state? The Glazers. But then Ineos did a deal with them and then decided then to, all right, we're going to get rid of the manager. We're incapable of finding another manager, which is terrible in itself. The way we just bypassed that. The fact that they couldn't get a capable manager in, then decided to keep the manager, then have had the terrible results, then had this meeting. And the worst thing about this meeting is the wall of silence after it. That's the worst part.
That's the worst thing about it.
Like, my expectations were, you know what? The meme, we've all seen it. My expectations were low, but holy fuck. That's how I feel about Ineos. As bad as I thought they was. They've even but even if they would have came out after the meeting and said, nah, we're sticking with him, but it's the wall of silence. It's cowardly.
Yeah.
It's cowardly because Ratcliffe quick to do interviews when he's taking over the club. He's quick to do sit downs with the BBC and talk. He's quick to do interviews when he was talking and when he was on his boat. But now when we actually need to hear something, it's a wall, like very coward-like. Very. And that's what I'd love to know is who in the meeting is fighting for Ten Hag to stay. When they go through the pros and the cons, what are the pros? You lot tried to get rid of him in the summer. So forget my opinion, forget anyone else's opinion, you lot deemed him not good enough in the summer. This is why you tried to replace him. So people need to forget the FA Cup win. People need to forget the letter that idiotic fan base decided to write to him, because they ignored both of those things. Because if they agreed to deal with Tuchel in the summer, then Tuchel would now be the manager in charge. But they're just showing how incompetent they are and how terrible they are. And they've done this here. If you look at the other two football clubs they own, terrible too. Look at Nice. Look at the team, and I can't pronounce the team, but they got a team in Switzerland as well.
I don't know who they are.
They're awful. Begins with L. I can't pronounce it, but they're awful too. It tells you all you need to know. But in regards to the question, can Ineos attract top managers? Yes, for two reasons. One, because it's Manchester United and it still holds a certain prestige, and we have the resources. And two, we'll pay you the big money. And when I say pay you the big money, that doesn't mean overpaying. We're going to pay you more than what you make elsewhere. And it's like we're moving. Like 99.9% of people are moving if your money is doubled or tripled or whatever else. So yeah, in regards to it with the manager, we could definitely attract them, but we don't even need an elite manager. People have said that to me. Oh, Manchester United, we don't need an elite manager. How about we just get a competent coach? If we get a competent coach, we'll be all right. I don't even think there's that many elite managers out there. I think you can count on one hand. I think there's Ancelotti. I think there's Pep. I put Flick in that mix. Zidane. Arguably Inzaghi, that's it. None of those are really attainable. But you can go and get a manager that's below that, and unit.
Sorry to cut you off. Even certain man like Unai Emery have gone from third tier to like second tier managers now because of the caliber managers now. It's gone downhill. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Nah. Saeed, Unai Emery has always been a decent coach. You can't say he's
but he went from but if you look at 4 years ago, there was second tier.
Yeah, bro, he was at PSG, right? And he's Villarreal,
Yeah, I know.
Sevilla. Yeah,
I
the
know.
only reason people say things against him is because of his Arsenal stint, and we know how bad. Listen,
Yeah.
he was that bad at Arsenal. Arteta won the trophy with his players, so he can't have been all that bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
So I think to say he's gone from third to second, I think he's always been about second tier, but now I think he's proven that he could be upper echelon.
And he'll get another shot. Like another,
Yeah.
I think if he carries on at this rate, another top club will come in for him and give him another shot at like trying to win leagues and Champions League. And to that last comment you man mentioned about the meeting being, because we all know it's scheduled, they have it on a monthly basis, and yes, it is about the media, but surely top of the agenda is Ten Hag. That's why they were all there.
Bro,
yeah, they spoke about it. That's why they were all there. Traps mentioned it last week, or it was the week before, when he said they're all there like the jurors at a court case. Everybody is there at Villa Park. Why is everybody at Villa Park? It's not like it's a massive thing.
I think it's a facade, you know, these
They're watching.
It's just showing PR. It's PR, man. Bringing all of these guys in, making it look like they're better than the Glazers, making it look like they've got some sort of team behind them. Like, what are you there to watch? Like, what? Like, I just think it's all like, yo, how can we prop up INEOS? Like, they're there. The Glazers weren't there, but they're there. Yeah, you're there, but you're not doing nothing. You are there and you're watching this shit, but you're not doing anything about it, man. Yeah, that's equally as bad. Because if the Glazers not there, but they make a decision, but these guys are here week in, week out, they watch it, guys, but they don't do anything about it.
Do you know what I really need to start happening for the fan base? Is this, we need to stop this separation of the club and INEOS. Like, INEOS are a separate entity. We need to all remember it's just Manchester United. They are part of Manchester United, and part of Manchester United, and I'm gonna say it is the fucking Glazers. It's still the Glazers. And thinking that every decision made is solely on that new structure. It's not true, because this meeting, apparently Joe Glazer came over. So the Glazers have still got their hands on everything. And this is why.
But Double A, they would have sacked him though. I think under the Glazers, just the Glazers themselves, because they were always pretty cutthroat. I think it's incompetence from INEOS's level. I don't think it's Glazer incompetence.
No, but I'm just saying they all shit out. They all shit in the same pot, mate. Do you know what I mean? The incompetence feeds incompetence. We still saw incompetence with the Glazers. The sacked managers. They've
at least they were cutthroat, though. Do you know what I mean? At least they were cut through. I mean, they made the wrong decision.
The last thing I'm doing is giving Rookwood and anyone.
It's true, though, isn't it? Let's be honest, Double A. You would have sacked him by now.
Yeah, it'd have been gone.
He'd have been gone.
He probably wouldn't have got he probably wouldn't have started the season. I think they probably would have sacked him.
That's what I'm
saying. But do you know why though? Do you know why? I think that it is probably because of the discourse of the whole fan base through that season. They listen to that more. Like, I don't think the Glazers would look at a letter on Twitter. They would have seen.
They wouldn't.
Because they would have seen the thousands upon tweets of how bad this manager is doing, and Ten Hag out.
You would have seen the league finish though. Double A. Did you seen the league finish where we finished?
Exactly. But I think the league finish would be secondary to the public perception of how Manchester United are viewed with this manager. I think they look at the publicity, and if it's all negative, they don't want that, bro. They want to be seen as fantastic. That's why they wait till deadline day to put transfers through, because they're in the media eye. They talked about but in a positive way. They don't want to be looked at negatively. So I understand. Yes, he would have been sacked by the Glazers, but then I wouldn't have trusted them to get the right appointment. So obviously the jury's still out on INEOS, and I will forever be judging them harshly because they got into bed with my worst enemy. So the friend of your enemy is your enemy, essentially, at the end of the day. And that's what INEOS are to me. They're my enemy because they got into bed with the Glazers. So I can't, until they buy them out completely, I will always have one eye on them, thinking, what are you doing? And at the moment, mate, the decisions they're making, Bruno, a new contract, keeping Ten Hag, this waiting around, messing around. Even if he just come out and said he's staying, back him publicly on the Monday. Because why allow this discourse to continue? Because there's unrest in the fan base. Fan base are going loggerheads with each other, out in, whatever. You know, we need to. If you're telling me he's staying, as much as I disagree with it, that's absolutely fine. Because then at least I know where your standards are, which are on the floor, as much as many of the fans that want to keep this manager in. So I then know I can't expect too much from you because you don't expect too much from yourselves. So I'd rather know what they want to do, because then I can move on. I know if I have to fully just go and support Juventus.
What if their remit is just getting a trophy and just like it's not about league position, maybe.
We just know what it is, but the thing we do know is, like I stated, is they don't think he's good enough because they tried to replace him in the summer. That's why I don't understand the silence. I don't understand the loyalty towards him when, one, you didn't hire him, and two, you actively tried to replace him in the summer, which lets us all know you don't think he's up to the job. Again, it just comes back to straight incompetence and their standards being on the floor. Everything ties back into them not being good enough. That's what it is.
Yep.
Like point blank, period. And people can't accept that INEOS are just terrible. People really can't. I'm here to tell, like, that's just what it is. We can talk about it. People can try and find excuses and reasons as to why they're doing what they're doing. It comes back to incompetence. They are terrible at what they do. Because like I stated, if Glazers had done this, we would slaughter them. We would have slaughtered them if the Glazers did this. If they would have kept Ten Hag after the
That's
season.
the reason, Flawless, I allowed it in the summer, but I shouldn't. I made the biggest mistake here, allowing INEOS here, for some reason, to keep Ten Hag in, and we all just be like, okay, like it's okay. You know what I mean? They've made a decision. Like that was a big warning signs, guy, that they allowed a manager to stay after 2.5 weeks of trying to actively sack him, then give him a contract, then say, right, cool, you're staying now, and you're then, you know what I mean? Like, bro, that is like, it's insane, you know, when you deep it, like, you know, just because you couldn't find the right man, you then said, oh, cool, we'll just keep him. Like,
and that's the problem in itself, Saeed.
You know,
the fact, if that is the excuse that we couldn't find somebody who we felt was suitable, that's terrible, because you know what's going to happen? Whoever the next manager is, I guarantee he was going to be available this summer just gone. There's no manager they're going to get, unless it's Zidane or Ancelotti, which is not happening. They're the only two that where you go, okay, they're acceptable. They weren't available in 2024. They're now available in 2020. There's no one. Whoever we're going to go and get was available this past summer. There's nobody. Who's this? People I've heard people use that as an excuse, or maybe the manager they wanted to get wasn't available. Who? Who's this myth? Who's this magical manager that they couldn't? That was so tough to get in the summer 2024 that they can now get 2025. Tuchel was available because they spoke to Tuchel. They just can iron out a deal.
That's what
I'm saying.
as well.
Can they get a deals done? Can they get a deal done?
If you couldn't get Honus from Stuttgart, that's on you. If you can't get Stuttgart's manager, I'm sorry, you're just incompetent. That again ties back into the I word incompetent.
Is that true, though, that report?
I take it with a pinch of salt because I know I've not seen anybody reliable say it. However, let's say hypothetically it is true. Let's discuss it. That's terrible in itself that you couldn't get the Stuttgart manager. No disrespect to Stuttgart.
Yeah,
that is awful. You couldn't sell a Stuttgart manager on your project.
It's actually mad, you know.